Hi, this is Just Sand, and better known as Cypress Golden Bronze. This morning I did look at News Now, and Rand Paul was on there. Rand Paul, is it Rand Paul or Rand? But he spoke on Black Lives Matter, and he just went over. He kept saying, well, I think it's for all life matter. I think it's all life matters. Nobody wants to touch this. But actually, you know, people that are fighting for rights and to change, to make a change, has to realize that as long as the Constitution is the way it is, the Constitution, then you're not going to get the policies that you want. This is what they've been doing all along. Now, this man that raped raped black women, pretty much. He did a 28-year-old. And he has an all-white jury. Why is that? That's the point. That has to stop. But see, in order to stop those type of things, you have to change the Constitution. If you ask them to change the Constitution, they'll go crazy. You know, if you ask them to change the Constitution or else, the world won't be anymore. If you did that, then they wouldn't change it. Because they know that Constitution gives them the right to, because it's unbiased, it's very biased. That Constitution wasn't for the rights of all people here in this country. So they need to we need to get it, but that's not going to happen. So when I hear that any Black Lives Matter or anybody talk and they mention the word policy, every time policy comes out of their mouths, I know that we will unsuccessfully, achieve that. Because as long as the Constitution is in the same way it is today, it was written by 15 slave owners. How could that be correct? How would you think that would be people that had human beings in slavery? They wrote it for their benefit. And it's been that way for a long time. So what we need to do is change it. That needs to be changed. And we might have to really fight for that. Like almost fight to change that Constitution. But that's what we need to do if we really mean business. Otherwise, look at this president. Look at it. There's so many white people I've talked to. They're so glad that they had him, and they're relieved that they didn't get blown up or, get what they well deserve, most of them. They loved him for those reasons. And I was like, good. Let him go over there for good. I'll never want to see Obama again after he's out of office. Never. I don't want to look at TV and I watch TV. I don't want to listen on the radio. I don't want to listen I want him gone. Because him agreeing with the decision of the jury for all cases and say, well, it's the law, he's disgusting. And I just, I feel at the end of his term or whatever, at the end of his term, there's going to be more people that think like Just Sand. When in the beginning, they weren't even giving me likes and comments. I don't really care. I don't need you to like me. That's not why I do this. He was out of line. And I believe that's how he's going to, how it's going to go down. That's how people are going to think of him. Period. So that's it. That's all. It's very short today. I gotta make another errand. So everybody have a good day. And remember, we have to tear apart the Constitution, and that's going to be a war. And let's do this. Because otherwise, to sit up and say the same thing and realize that the same things over and over, these people are we are not of our peers. We're not being judged. And that one judge did dismiss all of the white jurors. It should have been 24% in that case, but the person, guess what he did? Sell some darn reefer. They had a jury on someone like that. It has something to do with pot. That's just telling you that that's what they use, that crooked Constitution. And then encourage that president, black president. They knew he wasn't going to do anything for black people. Some man said to me yesterday, he said, oh, Obama, he did a wonderful thing. Like what? What did you want him to do? I wanted him to do something for me. For me. And it's very, to me, damnation for you to not do anything for me and do 6 years in a term. He did something for education. A lot of other presidents did too. And that's trying to point out white or black, but you get the white presidents have done some night. Even Bush had his moment. You know what I'm saying? They do something that is good. And that's what he hasn't done anymore. He's going to let go 6,000 prisoners. So, they're going to let on his little thingy that he does. 6,000? Please. We got so many African Americans in jail for nothing. For things like marijuana. You're going to give them a jury? I noticed that about that case. And they kept showing him. He's sitting there. And I'm like, are they putting a jury on a man that's selling marijuana when all of these white people out here, they're getting on the wagon trying to get some money out of this marijuana that's going to be kind of legalized. And some of this stuff they sell in these stores now here in California, which is disgusting. They make a lot of money on what? Marijuana. It's very strict, they said, to get their little license. And I thought to myself, yeah, I want someone to get that man that did that to that little girl. And that's just where I step out of my love. I still want him to get it. To really learn that he really messed with somebody's child. And for us to just sit around here and just forget about it, until it happens to your child. Because I didn't even hear her. She might have said no to getting up out of her seat. But I didn't hear her say anything else. And the other little girl says she's a quiet girl by nature. That's what she doesn't. But we don't have to give no excuse. What he did, I can't even watch that on TV. I hope that someone gets him. I kind of want to send some cursed magic on them, really, and I have been thinking about it. I want him to get it, one way or the other. I'm just jumping the gun, because they're going to probably do some real stupid stuff when it comes to that, and that cannot happen again. I can't. 103-year-old man. All this stuff is really getting out of hand. And I'm not afraid at all. I'm not afraid. So Black Lives Matter, always. And I know why it was started. Why are we explaining that over and over again? And it is power. It's power because it reminds us of what needs to be done in the communities. in the world. You know, they were throwing Nigerians out of London. Isn't that a lot of nerve? Them old greedy people over there have been down in Africa stealing and robbing for I don't know how long. And you want to throw some Nigerians out of your country. Okay, I'm glad you let me know. Because I sure don't want to see, I don't want to see nothing in Europe. There's nothing in Europe I want to see. Nothing. I have an aunt that lives there, and she was kind of a coarse person. Not a really good aunt. I have a little cousin, I haven't seen him for a long time. He works in Switzerland. And you can say that sounds really great, and I think the blacks reacted to her moving to Europe at that time as being great, and I always knew something was wrong with it. There's no way I could live in Europe and around all that. So people come from Africa, you go over there to London and all that kind of stuff. That's where they go to school, practically, from what I read. And it just goes to show you just don't love yourself. And then you don't want to be around that. Because if you love yourself, you don't want to be in an all-white neighborhood, you know, or a rural area. I wouldn't move out there. As somebody was telling me, it's quiet and everything that I would want, but I wouldn't move where there's people racist. I couldn't. There'll be a snap on that story. I couldn't do it. I don't want to be around those people. So there's nothing they do, they dress, I don't care what they do. It's not impressionable. This is LA. LA is a look at city. But, you know, you have to be more than that. You have to be a really good person on the inside and have a lot of good characteristics about yourself, not what's on the outside. And that's what I look at. And that's why I don't care for your president. Okay, so thank you so much. I am going bye-bye. And have a good day, you know. Ashe.